Morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. A tad early today. I'm still in the process of getting a few things done behind the scenes. So, drag the big man, Matt, who's back. He's recovered 16 pints down, 2 vodkas, a very big sleep on Sunday as well, Matt. It was a good night, though, wasn't it, at Cheers Bar?
Mate, it was an absolute, honestly, I had an absolute ball until that last game.
It?
Yeah, I remember all of it. I was having a ball until that last game. And they're like, oh my God, why'd they have to such a snooze fest at the end?
Look, it still ended up being obviously another bad day for Big Angie's first home game for Nottingham Forest as well. Good morning to Madge. Hope you're well, Madge. Stick with us on this one as well because we'll be discussing Leeds United. We're going to be discussing West Ham, Forest, Man United in this one today. Who would have thought Man United would be in a relegation prediction show today? We're going to talk about that one as well. Amongst all the promoted clubs, Burnley, how the promoted clubs are faring, what it looks like over the next 6 or 7 games or so as well. And at the very end of it, me and Matt are going to give our predictions for who we think the bottom 3 are going to be each. We've got a different bottom 3 as well. It's hard. It is hard to call. Matt, do you think this is the best 20 in the league for a long time? And by that I mean last season when you look at the 3 that came up, there was a golfing class between them. Whereas this year it is a lot harder to call. The ones that have come up, maybe not Burnley, but they're still competitive, are a lot stronger.
Well, it's kind of shown to me like that. I think Sunderland and Leeds have taken a leaf out of the Nottingham Forest book.
Great point.
When they got promoted, like Forest, we'll kind of sort of went, oh geez, they're spending money, but they're not really buying any big name players and all that. They went out and bought a ton of different players, but it showed that they needed depth in the squad and an improvement of quality, and it's worked for Forest. They've stayed up. Last season they were in the top 4 for God knows how long, and even though they did finish 7th, I think it was overall. Yeah, they only just finished 7th. Like it's only a matter of
collapsed at the end of the season from the long season. But they did that method of staying up, establishing themselves, and then building. It's 3-season rule.
Yep, and you look at Sunderland and Leeds, and that seems to be the model they've adopted as well. Sunderland probably a little bit more than Leeds went into the market heavy.
Agreed.
Leeds have gone to the market too, not as heavy as Sunderland, but they've gone and added genuine depth to the squad, and they're sitting 5th and 12th now. Burnley, for me, probably should have followed that same course.
It's not their model, is it, Burnley?
It's not their model, but you know what? Like, if you want to get into the Premier League and you want to stay up there, it seems like the only model you can follow.
Yeah,
you've got to be prepared to spend money, mate. Like you're going into the biggest league in the world, the biggest revenues in the world, and if you're a club that's going to not spend, you're just going straight back down. And the problem with going straight back down is that very rarely teams bounce back up.
Yeah,
you'll get the odd team every now and again will sort of bounce up and down for a minute, and then they'll just disappear to obscurity. But very rarely, usually you go back down and you're in the championship for another couple of seasons and.
Parachute payments and stuff like that. If you cast your mind back to when we started doing the transfer shows over the course of the summer, we all talked, you, me and Gaz and the guys in the chat, and good morning to Oliver, good morning to Gaurav, good morning to Madge, good morning to others as well. Make sure you guys drop a like on this video if you haven't done so already. But if you cast your mind back, Matty boy, we said West Ham look like they're going to struggle. Wolves a bit, have lost again, like the likes of Cunha and Ait Nouri. Leeds and Sunderland and Burnley at this point, because we hadn't seen what business these guys were going to do. We'll be targeting these. Then as the summer unfolds, Brentford come into the mix because they lose Mbumo, they lose Flecken, they lose Norgard. Thomas Frank goes to Tottenham as well. So then Brentford come into the mix because Keith Andrews gets appointed. We discussed at the start of the season that Spurs won't do what happened last year. No. And whilst you and Gaz thought United would still struggle, I don't think when we come to record this now at the end of September that either of us really believe Manchester United would be a discussion around finishing somewhere around where they finished last year.
No. I had United struggling.
To this extent, though, where I can't see them picking up points on the road.
But Well, not probably to this extent, but it doesn't surprise me, mate. I've said this numerous times. United are a squad that's built around the ideology of multiple managers, how the players in the squad, you go through it, the managers that have been there in the past, and they've all had different systems, and none of these players seem to fit any one system. And you look at Amarin, like he's tried to clean house. He's been ruthless in saying this player doesn't fit my system, this player doesn't fit my system, but he's still stuck with so many players that don't fit his system. Yet he's got to somehow try and get something out of it, and it's just an absolute pile of crap. And now the manager's under pressure. Like he must be under massive pressure now.
Overnight news, Matt, is that Manchester United have come out and said that Amarim is going to get till the end of the season at Man United. That is unbelievable. By the way, Craig, just quickly, Craig says good morning to you, Matt. Doesn't recognise you without a beer in your hand.
Well, I'm going to cop that forever now.
Carry on anyway. Yeah, look. Yeah, anyway, so United saying they're going to give Amarim till the end of the season.
I'm going to go against the grain here and say that's actually a good thing. And I know that's going to sound odd, right? Everyone's going to sit there and go, "Oh, you're an idiot," whatever. United need to put a line in the sand somewhere, mate. There has to be a point where this club says, "This is the manager. This is how we're going to go. This is his plan. Let's get him the squad that he wants and see what he can do." Because let's say they sack Amarin now, right? Who's coming in?
Move.
But who's coming in to turn it around, mate? There's nobody. You throw up names like Glasner and Areola and that, and go, mate, I don't think those guys want this job. You said before that Glasner plays the same system at Crystal Palace. I think he'd look at the Crystal Palace job and go, I could finish higher up the ladder with Palace than I can with United. Why would I go there?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, and if Glasner was smart, he'd sit there and go, you know what? I'll probably play out this season at Palace and I'll get another big job at a club in a better position.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I honestly do. And Areola would probably be the one for me that might go over there. But again, it's a manager that plays a different system again. So, we're back to square one. Amarin's been steadfast in saying this is how I play and this is what I want to do. If I'm United, I just go, okay, well, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's give him the money, give him the team.
That's what Radcliffe's doing, in fairness.
That's what he's doing, yeah. And you know what? If I'm a United fan, there should have been no expectations after last season to really do anything this year. And I think they're just going to have to cop it on the chin. I know it's such big, arguably the second biggest club in the world beyond Real Madrid, right?
Yeah.
And, I said at the end of the year, I think they're in for two or three really lean seasons. But you know what? If Emery can get in there in the next year or two, turn this club around, get them playing the way he wants with the squad he wants, well, the guy might get results. And at some point, that's what United's going to have to do.
Let's look at
They're going to have to try.
Let's look at their fixtures. Bearing in mind, they've got no Europe, no Cups. They lost to Grimsby, because we've got to get through all these in the best part of an hour. Yeah. United's next six will go with Sunderland, been in great form. Can't wait to discuss
Sunderland. That's going to be a tough game.
I see Sunderland winning. Morning to Andy B, by the way. I see Sunderland winning that. Then they've got Liverpool away.
Yep, that's a loss.
Then they've got Brighton.
That's a loss.
Then they've got Forest.
50-50.
Then they've got Spurs.
Loss.
Everton.
50-50.
Palace away.
Loss.
How many points in the next 6-7 games? Realistically, 3 to 4 points.
Yep.
The pressure come the end of November on Ruben Amorim is going to be unbelievable. If Manchester United pick up 4 points in the next 8 weeks, his position at the club becomes untenable.
See, this is where I disagree, mate, right? And again, I'm going to reiterate.
The fans will make sure of it.
Look, the fans can make sure all they want, mate. But what's needed is Jim Ratcliffe and the people within those walls need to be in a room with Emran going, this is the direction we're going. This is it. This is what we're doing. Because we can't keep stuffing around and chopping and changing and hoping that we can reinvent the wheel, mate. It's not going to happen. At some point, this club has to stop and believe in some manager. It has to, mate. It's not like I said before, Oliver Glasner, you've brought him up as probably a favourite to come in because he plays the same system, right? Let's say they go, as we just predicted, they take 3 or 4 points by the end of November, right? Do you think Oliver Glasner's, and the last game you said was Crystal Palace? Can you imagine if Palace knock them off, they sack Emran, and they go to Glasner and go, hey, do you want to come over here? We know you just pumped us, and we know we're an absolute pile of crap at the moment, but do you think you can turn us around? If I'm Oliver Glasner, I'm going, sorry, mate, I'm not going there. Not a chance. And United are never going to look, and let's be honest, I don't think United are ever going to look at a manager like Oliver Glasner. They're going to look for the big fish. And it hasn't worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
It hasn't worked for him, mate.
I definitely agree with that. Andy says, guys, how can we follow the award ceremony dates, times? Like the ceremony is on the 20th of November at Ellen Road. I'll pop a link into the chat when Matt's rambling on about something for me in just a moment's time. You guys can do it. Big thanks to Craig, who messaged me this morning to say he's voted as well. He wants 12 million end of. I saw Andy's comments to me about that. The fact that they've got if they sack him before November, they're up for 12, 13 million to Ruben Amorim. United fans have been very patient with Amorim. The stats that I talked about the other day, he's miles behind where he should be. He's averaged a point a game in the 33 games that he's had in nearly a year in charge at Old Trafford. It's arguably worse under him. And I'm going to move from Man United in a minute because whilst I don't think they'll go down, and I'm putting that out there before we really discuss the relegation candidates, they sit within this based on how shockingly bad they are as a football team these days.
I just want to add quickly before we move on, right? I don't put this on Emerin, mate. Do you know what? I think this is a Ten Hag problem. No, hear me out, mate, right? I think they held on to Ten Hag for 12 months longer than they should have. They gave him 2 transfer windows, right? Longer than they should have. And the damage what he did is in the 2 transfer windows, bringing in players that he wanted for his system that don't fit Emerin's. And
he's had nearly a year there, mate.
It doesn't matter, mate. Like like I said to you, it's the squad. The squad. It's a squad full of players that don't fit the one system. They just don't.
Gurav 10 says that Man United will get relegated. I can see it coming. Doesn't think they'll get any points in that fixture run. I
got a question for you, Christian, and for the guys in the chat, right? Let's just say the apocalypse does happen and United get relegated. What do you think it's recoverable?
Yeah, of course it is. They won't get relegated. They're too big.
I'm just saying, like, let's just say the apocalypse happens and they do get relegated.
Yeah,
they would have to absolutely gut that club. For PSI.
They have been. They'll find a way around it. United would come back the following season. Right, let's park Manchester United there. There's others I want to discuss more than that are just on the thumbnail as well. Let's go to West Ham because they drew last night, picked up a credible draw away from home against Everton in Nuno's first training session. First match. He's had a training session and a half. This is what you do, Big Ange. You get a result on your first game. Take note.
You manage a bounce.
Yeah, exactly. Jared Bowen's ever so important for them. They currently sit in the table 19th. They've got 4 points from 6 games, 1 win, 1 draw, and 4 losses. Life after Graham Potter certainly begins. From a managerial perspective, I feel that Nuno understands this part of the table probably better than what Potter does. The question's going to be, do West Ham fans respect the position that they are in and what they're actually up against? Because they hounded David Moyes out the door for negative styles of football, setting up to not lose games, right? And yet they won a European trophy. They are 19th there. They must stay in the Premier League. It would be a disaster if West Ham were to go down from a financial perspective. And I'll keep coming to them, guys. As we come through the teams, get your comments in about where you go. Also put into the comments as well, guys, or into the chat, your bottom 3, 18, 19, 20. Who do you think is going to go down? You can put it in as abbreviation, so WHU for West Ham 18. Let us know in the chat what you think as well. Really interested in that. And for those watching this later, don't forget to get them in the comments as well. I'll come back to you all and let you know my thoughts on them as well. But Do West Ham improve under Nuno?
Well, I think you've only got to look at the Everton game to see that Nuno's walked into that club and he goes, right, it's going to take me a minute to implement the style I want to play. So what I will bring to the table is we're just going to be solid defensively. And I guess he probably had a leg up going into a game against Everton, against a team that's not really going to be that adventurous under Moyes. Everton are not that type of team. And Nuno's gone, as long as we defend our asses off, we do have players like Paqueta, Bowen here that can win us a game. And, if they can get in there and snatch a draw or a win, whatever, until Nuno gets his feet under the desk and his style of football implemented, West Ham are just going to be a good defensive side, try and itch on the counter, a bit of magic for one of those type of players, and that's what they'll be, And it's, look, West Ham at the moment are in survival mode, mate. His instructions will be turn this club around and get us out of this relegation battle, mate. And, that's survival mode for me. And look, Nuno's experienced enough, and I don't want to kind of say, at being a manager at bottom clubs, he's just been a manager at clubs for me that have had restrictions in spending. They're always losing players to the bigger clubs. He's had to be frugal in his spending, but also he's had to manage his ass off because he's had a lot of players that, coming in from, leagues and countries that, no, we don't really hear of, coming in from, especially Portuguese when he was at Wolves and that, and probably take a bit of time to adapt to the Premier League. So he has experience in that sort of stuff, which, puts him in good stead to turn this job around for me. It really does.
Absolutely. Guys, I've pinned a link there to the voting for the Football Content Creators Awards. Obviously, we have been put forward as a new content creator. I think the voting closes in about 10 days' time. I do need to check that. But if you click on the link, if you haven't done so already, go to the drop down and select new content creator. You will see the Footy Social Club. You don't have to use your name or email addresses or anything like that. Your vote will be counted. So if you guys can take 10 seconds to do it, let us know you've done it. It would be greatly appreciated.
If you take 10 minutes to do it 5,000 times.
No, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I wish it did. Gurev says Man United and Burnley, it's between Wolves and the Bees. We'll discuss that. West Ham will stay up. Players like Diouf, who I've been impressed with at left back, Magassa, Bowen and Mateus Fernandes. Now, Fernandes was in the Southampton team that went down. I just feel that with West Ham, and I don't want to give too much away, I just wonder whether or not Nuno will get them more organised than what Potter did. And I wonder whether that will work into their favour as the season goes on with some of the likes of Jared Bowen, Fulkrug, Paqueta. They have got some players that understand how to play to a decent level.
Yeah.
That's where the question mark is for me in relation to West Ham.
Mate, look, let's be honest, right? If you're playing if your club's in the Premier League, mate, you've got a squad full of decent footballers, right? It's what your manager can get out of them. That's what it is for me. And Nuno has a knack for squeezing the most juice out of the lemons he has. And he never really has a team full of superstars. He has players that are good.
Yeah.
And he squeezes a lot out of those players that are good. And the players that you would view without knowing before he manages them, you would say average.
Mm-hmm.
He elevates them to good. You look at West Ham, not even Forest last year. Chris
Wood.
Wood.
Ultimately, he's a good coach, is what you're saying.
Good coach, great manager.
He's going to coach West Ham better than what they currently are.
He's going to walk in that place. He's going to have a clear directive, a clear attitude he wants to play with, a clear style, and he's going to have the ability, I think, which is the most crucial, to get his messages across.
Yeah.
Which is where you get results with players. If we want to be critical of someone right now, you look at Ange at Forest, right? We all said that Nuno's a defensive coach, and that if Ange can get some attack out of Forest, whatever, they could do something. Well, they're not looking too good at the moment.
No. After 5 games, we'll talk about
after 5 games. And is that a manager that can't get a message across?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to some of the newly promoted sides. We'll start with Leeds first. As you rightly said, they're sitting 12th in the Premier League so far. They drew very, very late on. I don't know if you remember that at the pub on Saturday night. Injury time equaliser for Bournemouth. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Barker was my favourite to be sacked first. I just didn't believe Leeds ever really wanted to keep him as manager, but they've somewhat backed him. Of him. Yeah, another one of those managers that I think is at Championship level, he's very good. At Premier League level, not so good. And for me, I still think his time is limited at the club. I don't know, with all the spending that they did, and they bought some good players, they have bought some good players, I still don't think they addressed enough goals going forward. Whereas when I look at Sunderland with Isidore and, I feel, and the experience of a Granit Xhaka in the midfield, I feel like they bought better. How do you assess Leeds' start to the season, 6 games in? Obviously, they won the Championship with, I think, 101 points last year as well. Morning to Baxi. Baxi, this is all about Chelsea getting relegated. No, only joking. How do you assess Leeds' start to the season?
I would say slightly surprising for me. I think that out of the 2 draws they had, especially on the weekend, they probably should have got a win out of that, which would have put them probably above where I thought they would have been. But sitting at 2-2-2, I probably think they're probably just above where everybody thinks they would be. I don't think anyone would have thought they had 2 wins this early in the season. For me,
Madge says, morning, Madge being my mother, good morning, Mum, as a big Leeds United fan as well. Happy that Leeds are 12th for now. She'd love the Billy Bremner days. Their fixtures coming up as well as we assess their first 6. Tottenham at home, that's going to be tough. Ellen Road will be good though. Tottenham at home, Burnley away. That's one that Farker and Scott Parker are going to target points off each other. Then it's West Ham again targeting points in and around. Brighton away is tough. Forest away again targeting points. Then it's Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. That's really difficult. And this is 7 or 8 games away, 8 games away. But they've got the next 6 or 7. They've got to pick up.
Let's just go through those games again. What's the list of those games again, mate?
So Spurs next.
Spurs, I think Thomas Frank will be too organised for them, even though it's at Ellen Road.
Yeah. Burnley away, tough.
I think they'll get a win there.
Okay. West Ham at home.
Win, draw.
Brighton away, tough. Amex is tough.
I'd probably say draw, loss.
Yeah. Forest away.
I'm going to go win.
Okay.
Forest with shambles.
Yeah. Okay. Leeds, Villa at home. Leeds at home against Aston Villa.
Loss.
And then it becomes, which is,
and it's loss.
Then it's City, Chelsea, Liverpool. So we don't need to go. But so you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your next 6. How many points out of that? I'm going to say.
3, 6. I'll say 8.
I'm going to say 5.
Out of that whole list you just gave me through to the Liverpool game?
No, not excluding the Liverpool. Yeah, just the next 6 before Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. I think 5 points for Leeds.
I'm going to say 5 to 8. I think if they walked away with 5, they'll be happy. But I think they could possibly get 8.
13
I think they could get 2 wins out of that and a couple of draws.
So 13 points would be about average. It'd be about average. A point a game. It'd be, they'd be on roughly 13 games.
I think
11 games, 13 points.
I think out of that next 6, they can get 2 wins, 2 draws. I really do. Injuries, suspensions, all that stuff's going to come into it. I think there's a real opportunity, probably Burnley and Forest for me to get 2 wins there.
Yeah,
and then there's the possibility they could jag 1 or 2 draws as well. And if they drag two draws, 2 wins, and 2 losses out of the next 6 games, then they're 4-4-4, and they're probably still mid-table.
Madge says 6 points is what she's saying. So she's split between you and me, 5 and 8. She's pretty much in the middle, around 6 points for Leeds. That's 14 points.
Yeah. What would that look like? A win and 3 draws?
Yeah, something like that, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's even telling me that there's an opportunity for a couple of wins, and they could very well jag a couple of wins, mate.
I think in the run to Christmas,
it's not written off for Leeds, to be honest.
I think when you get to Christmas, going into that really busy period where it's a game every 3 days,
Yeah.
I think for anyone that's got ambitions of staying up in that low 6, 7 positions, you want to be averaging a point a game. You want to be at that point of the season, a point a game, right?
Yeah.
What do you think's the number that? What do you think 18th or 7th? What do you think 17th is going to have to stay up? I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be around the 40 this year because the competition is better. So I think 17th place will be 39, 40 points.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah, I would say 38 to 42, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's going to be higher than what it's been in previous seasons, I think, this year.
Yeah. Yeah, look, we looked at the Premier League last season. If you took Liverpool out of the Premier League last season and Southampton, it was a pretty close league. Like Liverpool ran away with it, and Southampton were absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
Right? You take those two teams out of the league, and it was right to the end for both ends of the table, really.
Do you think as a club Leeds will be sticking with Farke at the moment? Or does the next, let's say you only got 3 points in the next 5 games. Do you think here's a question though, let's put it this way. If you've got 3 points in the next 5 or 6 games, with the likes of Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool coming up, do they potentially look at a different manager to give him a free hit on those 3 games to then go into the Christmas period, January and onwards? Or do they just stick with him?
Mate, okay. I'm not a big believer in this. You know, if you get rid of the manager and give him 3 free hits against City, Chelsea, and Liverpool, I don't see them as free hits. I see that as absolutely demoralising, mate. I would rather bring a manager in 3 games earlier than that and give him a shot at Forest and somewhere where he can get his teeth in and get some results and get some confidence. Get the team confidence, mate. Because you want the team confident going into those 3 games that they might be able to jag a draw or something like that. You don't want them going in there going, new manager, bang, 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 3 losses.
And I'm not saying he's under pressure in any way, shape or form. Like, I'm really not. Daniel Farke's
I think
average more than a point a game.
I think Farke was under pressure. Like, we spoke about it before the season started. We all thought he was under pressure to start with. And at 2-2-2, I don't think he's under that much pressure, but it's the Premier League, mate. And if Leeds do have, dreams of staying up, then you've got to get points. And this next 6 games for me would probably be the first 12 games of the season. They would have targeted as we have a relatively easier draw, not as many bigger teams.
Yeah.
So that's where we need to target points. Be strong at home. If we can jag a point here and there away, or the odd win,
that's how you stay up, isn't it?
That's how you stay up.
Picking up the points away from home if you can get good home form.
Be solid at home, and if you can jag a draw, jag a win here and there away, that's how you stay up. And they'd be under no illusion, mate. The City, Liverpool, and Chelsea are probably a reach. Although, and Baxy's going to hate this, but Chelsea are probably there for the taking at the moment with their defence.
A little bit more.
A little bit more, but they can also put 5 on them. So, Leeds would have to, and we spoke just before about the lack of firepower for them, I think. There's points there for them. And I think if Farke can walk out of this next 6 games, like we said, and get, say, between 5 and 8 points, I think that's positive.
Let me know, guys, down in the chat what you think of Leeds. If we've moved on to the next team, I will come back and read them out. Really appreciate those that have commented already. Gaurav says that Farke is improving from his mistakes at Norwich. Leeds will stay up. And I think Norwich is a different beast to Leeds, if I'm honest. Yeah. Norwich's mentality was all about
survival,
taking the money, going down, parachute payments, rebuilding, like yo-yoing. Like it's okay. They've got a game plan to go down. Bit similar to Burnley for me.
Yeah.
But if
Leeds want to stay up,
Leeds are a big football club.
Big football club. Big supporter base.
Big
too.
Club. They should be a Premier League club. They should be. They are a big football club. Potentially moving in the right direction. We'll see when we come to the predictions at the end. Let's go. We'll split it up a little bit. Let's go. Let's get the Australian perspective on Nottingham Forest, because obviously start of the season, Nuno explodes in his press conferences. He's clearly had a falling out with our former director of football, now head of global football for Nottingham Forest in Edu. Marinakis and him can't patch it up. And he gets an opening win against on the start of the season, but after that, he's obviously pushed himself out the door. Forest changed the style of the way they want to play. They've appointed Ange Postecoglou. And yes, he's had away games, but I thought, and I can't buy into it. I don't want to keep going over the same thing.
No, hold on. Hold on. I want to stop you there because before you go on and you say, I thought Ange would have done this, you've been highly critical of Ange from the start, saying that he's the wrong manager for that club, etc., right? So I know what you were going to say because I know you were going to play the diplomat and say, I expected this, and this. No, you didn't expect anything. You expected it to be a bust.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by what's happening with Forest in relation to what the results that Ange is getting, and that's purely on the basis of the fact that he is like Amorim. He's hell bent on one style and one style only, and at the top level, you can't just do that. You can't. You have to be able to adapt to games and situations and results how they are live. And he doesn't. He wants to kill games by just continuing to try and score goals. And I don't buy into when people sit in the chat and say, yeah, but Forest had 17 chances and failed to score. Well, then you're not reacting. You're not thinking, do you know what? We've missed a hatful. Let's now close it out.
Yeah. Look, let's be honest, right? Ange, when he was at Tottenham, was living and dying by his sword. And you know what? Hats off to the guy, mate. And this is not me putting the Australian hat on or anything like that. I don't mind a manager walking into a club and going, this is how I want to play. This is how I'm going to set up. And being a results-driven business and your life in any form of sports professionally at the highest level, you're judged on wins and losses, mate. Right? And if you think the best way you can get results is by playing the way you want to play, then screw it. Go in there and die on your sword, mate. We're going to have to rehash the Spurs thing because that's the last thing that we can measure off, right? He come out in January and said, mate, the league's gone. Let's go for Europe. And he got the trophy, mate. He knew the season was gone, that the Premier League season was gone. He had too many injuries. It was just done. He was never going to crawl back Champions League football. So he targeted a European trophy and he won it. He won that playing his style of football.
In a poor competition.
But it doesn't matter, mate. It doesn't. It could have been the friggin' 5th Division Cup, mate. Spurs fans wouldn't give an absolute crap. They won a trophy, first in 17 years. Mate, would you have taken that at Arsenal? Let's be honest. If we'd won that European trophy, we wouldn't be sitting here going, oh, it was against shit opposition. We'd be going, we're European Cup winners.
You can only beat who's in front of you. You can only beat who in front of you. But when you're playing second-tier Europa League in your semi-finals against Bodo Glimt, who they play in the Champions League this week, when your semi-finals home and away against Bodo Glimt, I don't rate that as much of a competition.
Doesn't matter. It's a trophy. So looks good in the trophy cabinet, mate.
He lost 22 games last season.
Better than the dust we got at Arsenal.
So he's next 6. And I'm going to exclude European competitions, but he's got Midtjylland on the 3rd of October. Then it's away at Newcastle, loss. Then it's Chelsea,
loss.
Then Porto. Don't worry about it. You have to result on them, but they come into the mix. Then it's Bournemouth away.
Tough.
Yeah. Then it's Man United, which
could possibly be a win there.
Then it's Leeds. Then it's Liverpool.
Possibly be a win there. Then there's a loss.
So and then it's Brighton.
Tough.
I don't. If I look at that,
you got to give the guy a chance to get his feet under the desk, mate. Like
6 points. 6 points.
Yeah, but look. Do you think Edu and Marinakis have been sitting there looking at Ange and gone, okay, well, we saw what he did at Spurs, and is he going to be adaptable? They know who Ange is. There's no secret there. He's very open about it.
Yeah,
they knew who they were signing, mate. They knew exactly who they were signing. So I don't think the results matter so much for him at the moment. I really don't. I think that
Marinakis demands, mate.
But Ange would have walked in there and said, mate, I always win a trophy in my second season. Points proven, mate.
Just quickly down in the
Point
chat.
Proven.
Just quickly.
Every
Matt,
time.
Just quickly down in the chat. Hi, it's me. Says, can you imagine Man United getting relegated and Man City going down 2 leagues with 115 points deduction? That's followed by Gurav saying, "What about Chelsea?
Dream.
What about Chelsea with 74 charges? City, Man United, and Chelsea all being relegated would be absolutely unbelievable. It'd be terrible for the league, though. That's the thing.
It wouldn't be terrible for the league.
Of course it would. Of course it would. You're taking three major teams out of the Premier League. That's not good for the Premier League. You're taking
3 major teams that are cheat, or 2 of them are cheats.
Still not good for the Premier League.
Hey, how's it, mate? Come on.
It's the best league in the world. It's not good to have those teams not in the Premier League.
Okay, so yeah, but hold on. The best team in the world, well, they wouldn't be the best team in the world if they cheated. If they didn't cheat, would they? 115 charges, mate. If Chelsea found
have they been found guilty of anything?
If City are found guilty of 115 charges, which, come on, mate, 115 charges, there's some bullshit going on at City.
I reckon they won't.
And they're going to buy their way out of it. We all know it.
They can't buy their way out of it. They're in court.
They're going to, mate. You're telling me, you just said it yourself, can't afford to have them go out. So the FA is going to turn around and there'll be some backroom deal to make sure they'll get some, we're going to fine them $15 million, which is a piss in the ocean for City, right? And they're going to go, look, we're sorry for what we did, and they're found guilty of 3 charges, $15 million fine, see you later. City will go, mate, we burn more of that to train it. Who gives a crap? They won't want to lose. It's exactly what you said, mate. It's the Premier League. But the problem is if they've cheated, do you think City are the club that they are? This, mind you, the allegations from when they were nothing, building to the big club that they are now.
They are a big club.
But they weren't a big club when they weren't a big club when they cheated. They cheated their way to being a big club.
Again, you have to be very careful with that. That's your view, but you're innocent until proven
guilty. No, I'm throwing out there. Mate,
Good morning
115 charges don't just appear out of thin air. They've found something. 115 somethings.
We'll see.
Do you think the people looking through their books are idiots?
We'll see. Good morning to Bob Jr. It says, would doing that give the promoted sides more of a chance of staying up? Ever so possible.
Yes.
Ever so possible. Welcome back, Bob, as well.
Straight back up anyway. So, it's like we've gone for a year or 2.
Morning to Gaz. How about Palace getting demoted from the Europa League? Well, that's Marinakis plays a part in that. I didn't agree with that. The Leon thing. I don't agree with multi-club ownership, in all honesty. So, Arsenal apparently equally as guilty of cheating. May as well play Ron Jeremy up front. The amount of diving they do. Well, look, we're not here to talk about Arsenal.
Diving and cooking the books.
So yeah, we're not here to talk about Arsenal. Right.
No.
Let's move from Leeds. Let's go to
Brentford.
No, we'll go to. We'll go Brentford. Go on, we'll go Brentford. I felt after what happened to him in the summer, losing Frank, Flecken, Norgard, Wissa, and Mbeumo, that life would be over for Brentford in the Premier League. If I'm truly honest, I thought Jordan Henson's a good signing. I thought Kelleher's a good signing. I thought Utara will be a good signing as well. But I still had a huge question mark over the fact that they appointed a coach in Keith Andrews, who knows the club, has worked around Thomas Frank. From what I understand, Thomas Frank was interested in taking him to Tottenham, but Brentford said no to that. I think he's done incredibly well. At home, a win against Villa. Yes, they've had a bad start to the season, but still a win at home. A late draw against Chelsea. They were very, very good in the game we did as a watch-along at Cheers Bar on Saturday against Manchester United. Igor Thiago was fantastic. Damsgaard looked good. Sade worked his nuts off.
Starting to look like the Brentford side of last season under Thomas Frank.
But more attacking.
Yeah.
But but do you know what the difference is this season between them? The stability that Frank brought away from home is not there under Keith Andrews.
Yeah, but like you just said, the attacking is improving. And maybe a part of improving the attack is that away from home, they're a little bit more susceptible. Which, you know what, at the end of the day, in the Premier League, you got to score goals. You got to defend, but you're not going to win games without scoring goals. right? And if Keith Andrews can turn that side that just absolutely got gutted of every weapon it had, like, yeah, and he's turned the attack around, well, that's a great thing for me.
I mean, I credit the board of Brentford and whatever else for being as bold, because I genuinely believe that they thought, oh, well, if we get relegated, we're in a good financial position. We've just sold a lot of players, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We'll come back. It's anything but that.
They're trying to stay up.
Yeah.
Look, and I think the continuity with Keith Andrews is probably the key as well. Like you said, Thomas Frank wanted to take him to Spurs. If Frank wants to take him to Spurs, he knows the guy. He must view him as an intelligent coach.
Yes.
Or an intelligent assistant. And he wants him at a bigger club, obviously, because he wants to do better at a bigger club. But Brentford turning around and saying, no, we want to keep him here. He's our guy. Well, that shows you how highly they regard him. And the continuity, too, of, knowing Frank's system being around the club, that's probably a positive for Brentford as well. Instead of bringing in a new manager, I mean, we were probably surprised that Keith Andrews got the job, but
massively surprised.
It seems to have paid off. So
they're a bit like Brighton, even though they hate each other, but the two owners hate each other. They work together.
Smart football minds, mate, making smart football decisions,
outside the box thinking.
Yep.
Funny enough, with those with Brentford, although I know Potter once was at Brighton, you'd never see Brentford saying, "Oh, well, Potter worked at Brighton. We'll go and get a Graham Potter." It's even more left field than that.
But that goes to show you that they're a football club that has an identity and a system.
But they work off stats. They're statistically driven. That's how they buy their players as well.
They can be statistically driven, mate, but you've also got to remember that those statistics will be based on fitting into the system that they're implementing. Yeah. They're not going to have a manager. They're not going to sit there and look at a side. Let's just say, I'll give you an example, right? Say they play a 4-3-3 and they're looking at a team that plays a 3-4-3, right? They're not going to look at a player in that side and go, geez, he's a key element in that system, but doesn't suit our system, but the stats are great. They're not going to look at it that way. They're going to look at players that play similar styles of football in positions where it suits their system, and that's when they're going to analyze the stats and go, well, we think he can do a job there for us. Not, they're not trying to put square pegs in round holes, mate.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. You look at Brighton. Brighton seemed to manage to, you look at, I'll give you a really good example of that. You look at Belieber at Brighton, he's almost identical to Caicedo in the way they play football. So they've targeted, there's a player in that position that they know suits their system.
Yeah.
They've gone and got a player. And then
plug and play,
mate. Plug and play. And if you want to go back further than that, you look at Basuma when he was at Brighton. Again, very similar player to Caicedo. When he was at Brighton.
Year, though, they haven't replaced like a striker, so they haven't replaced João Pedro. Let's have a quick look at Brentford's next 6. City up next at home, followed by West Ham away, Liverpool at home, Palace away, Newcastle at home, and Brighton away. Tough.
Oh.
Tough. Because here's where we talked about at the top there of talking about Brentford picking up points at home. Their home fixtures are City, Liverpool, Newcastle.
Yeah. I don't see them. Well, look.
So I don't see them getting anything against City.
I'll tell you what, if I was going to say they were going to get something out of any of those 3 teams, it would be City for me.
I see a point.
I think they'll play it. They'll play them physical, play behind the ball. I could see a draw against City at home.
I can't. City are in too good a form.
West Ham defensively, they're susceptible.
West Ham away will be interesting. With West Ham away, Brentford are not good away at the moment, so they're yet to prove it to me that they can go and do it away from home. So I'm going to say a point away from home. So from 1-2 games, a point.
That would be the game they have to target. They have to try and target 3 points there for me.
Yeah, nothing against Liverpool.
No, nothing.
I don't think they get anything against Palace at Selhurst Park.
Nope.
Then they've got Newcastle.
At home?
Yes.
Draw? There's a possibility of a draw there.
Okay, so we'll go with 2 points. I'm going to go with 2 points so far. Then Brighton away.
I think they'd be expecting to go to Brighton and get a draw.
So
it'll be tough.
It'll be tough. 3 points in his next 6 games. They're currently.
I think
that'll take them to 10 points from 12 games.
I think they'd be targeting that West Ham game as a must-win 3 points. For me, that would be the one that they'd be viewing as we need to go there and win. And then if they could pull 2 draws out of the bag, out of the rest of the results, I think they'd walk away very happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've got better fixtures. Although I say that, they haven't
let's be realistic. If they walked away with 3 draws, I think they'd still be happy with that too.
Yeah, the mantra for Brentford this year, regardless, is staying up.
Staying up, yeah. But I mean, you look at City, Newcastle, Liverpool, right? They're not expected to get any points there whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
Then you probably look at Palace and the form Palace are in at the moment. They're probably expected not to get any points there. Brighton away is an extremely difficult place to get points, but that would probably be one that they target as a draw.
Yeah.
And then you've got West Ham who are in crap house form at the moment. That would be the one for me that if they targeted that game as a must-win game, they got 3 points there, and then they could somehow wrangle 1 or 2 draws. I think they walk out of that period going, well, you know what?
5 points is all right. I just don't see it.
5 points is all right. 3 points is all right.
Oh, I think 3 points and 6 is bad. But they're not. He's not going anywhere. I just think it's going to make it a tougher. They've got some more winnable games coming up, but I still think it's tough.
That's the way they've got to view it, mate. They've got to view it as, this is that you're always going to have difficult patches during the season where you're going to get runs like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is, as a manager in the locker room, you just got to try and keep the hopes up, keep the players' hopes up, and say, look, we're not expected to win against City, we're not expected to win against Liverpool, and we're not expected to win against Newcastle, right? We go out there, we play compact, we play deep, we try and hold on, try and jag a draw. Mate, it's the Premier League. It happens every week. So it's not impossible, right?
Yeah.
Whatever they walk away with, I think they're content even if they lose because they're not expected to win. And as a manager, he can't be under pressure in games he's not expected to win. He's not even expected to draw, to be honest.
I'm not talking about him being under pressure.
And then
that's not what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. If he walks out of that with 3 to 5 points, I think then they target the next few games where they've got an easier draw and they go, okay, this is where we need to put the foot on the accelerator and get some points back.
Yeah.
And every team in this whole conversation tonight is under exactly the same amount of pressure, to be honest with you. They know the games they need to target. They know the games they need to get points. As long as, crucially for them, they get the points when it matters, then, come the end of the season when it all pans out, the results will be there.
Yeah. Right, let's go on to the next one. We've got 3 teams to go, about 15, 20 minutes or so left of this one today. Let's go Sunderland. I think this is an easy conversation. And they're not in the mix for me in any way, shape or form.
No way.
But they need to be touched on very briefly for the fact of how great their start to life is. They are 5th, 11 points from 6 games, 3 wins, 2 draws and a loss.
Yep.
In a nutshell, how impressed have you been with Lebris, a manager I knew nothing about, to be honest?
Yeah. Look, I think they've been the surprise packet of the year. To be fair, everybody had Sunderland being relegated. So the fact that they're 5th with 3 wins, 2 draws and 1 loss is amazing. The 1 loss is the biggest thing. 1 loss. Nobody in a million years would have picked that after 6 games.
Roofs looks really good in goal as well. It comes up with saves. Palace, Forest, big saves, confident in what he's doing. Morning to Mercury Dime, by the way. Mercury Dime, no apologies for being late. I'm an hour earlier today. I'm sharp offline on this by 11 your time today. Mercury Dime, what you can do for me, drop a like on the video as you're late, but let me know your 18th, 19th and 20th positions in the relegation dogfight. That is the focus on the show. As a footy social club, it's not always about the top sides. I think it's important to discuss how the others are looking as well. And me and Matt are breaking those down. You obviously can go back and watch it later as well. So do that for me, Mercury Dime. I think Sunderland have been terrific. I think it's been a breath of fresh air from a newly promoted side. They spent big, 100-odd million. Granit Xhaka stands out, not just his former Arsenal. Roof stands out. Isidore, Adingra. They've bought different types of players, but they've bought a lot of They've bought a lot of pace and power, and the Premier League is so quick. I don't know if you remember, a good 10 years ago, more than that now, 12, 13, Hull City came up. Phil Brown was the manager there. Bullard, Javinio, and they caught teams out for the first 6-7 months. In the Premier League.
Pace and power.
They beat Arsenal at the Emirates. They beat others. Wigan did it 15 years ago. Again, a Jimmy Bullard side, and whatever else. They came up, they had a go, they stayed up. At some point, I feel like the league will catch up with them a little bit. The colder months, January, February, the AFCON could be difficult as well.
That's the thing for me, the AFCON.
But will they maybe go and do some smart loan deals in January to offset that?
Surely. They'd have to, surely. If they could go into January window and maybe get a couple of deals, whether it be a loan or buys in January, then I think that'll put them in good stead. I don't think they have to go out and, buy half a squad. I don't think that's necessary.
No.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, too, Sunderland should be, depending on their league position, they should be looking to add because they need depth.
Yeah.
And especially at AFCON when they're going to lose some players, to bring in a couple of smart either loans or for me, probably loans would be the smartest deal for them. Maybe bring in a couple of experienced players that are at clubs where they're not getting game time. Bring them into the club. So, even ones with Premier League experience would be even better. But
where do you think they finish?
Mid-table.
Yeah. Okay. So they're more than safe.
I think they're more than safe.
I think they'll drop, but I think it'll be around 12 or 13. I don't think it'll be any lower than that.
I got 10 to 14, somewhere in there.
Yeah, Andy says it's a breath of fresh air. We're talking about teams that haven't come up to go straight back down for once. Absolutely agree with that. And I know it hurts as a Newcastle fan. SAFC for life. Welcome in, my friend. We'll only lose 6 players. 6 players is still a lot in the Premier League.
That's a lot of players for a club with not a lot of depth.
Yeah, well, they've got a big squad, but again, some of those AFCON players won't be in AFCON for very long either. No. It's 2 or 3 weeks. I've heard Isak says he wants to go to Sunderland. Here we go. We're not talking about Alexander Isak today. Ward-Prowse dropped from West Ham. He could be. But Lebris deserves massive credit. Sunderland as a club deserve massive credit. The Stadium of Light is going to be huge. The noise that stadium is making pre-game at the moment is unbelievable.
Ward-Prowse would be a good pickup for them.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a Sunderland home fixture. We're definitely going to do Sunderland versus Newcastle home and away as watch-alongs this year as well, for sure. I think it's been really good, and credit to Sunderland, as I said, definitely one that I'm happy to say will be safe. And there needs to be, is it the Tyne Weir derby? There needs to be Newcastle Sunderland season in, season out in the Premier League. The big derbies are what it's all about for me in the Premier League. That's what it. That's
not necessarily all about the big clubs, mate.
No,
the derbies is what makes the Premier League.
Sunderland are still a big club. I know from an Australian perspective, they're not as big as others that are out there, but Sunderland are still a huge,
massive club.
So
that's what that's the thing about the beauty of the Premier League, mate. Is the derbies, the rivalries.
Yeah,
that it's not all about the Champions League and the glamour clubs, mate. It's you just look at the history of the FA Cup, mate.
Yeah.
The glamour of the FA Cup is that anyone can win it. And there's always a team that comes from nowhere. It happens every single year in the FA Cup. There's some team that comes from nowhere and they win it. Crystal Palace last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's joy of the Premier League.
Morning to Toon Fan 68. Don't worry, guys, I'm early today. If any of you are late to the party, I apologise. I've got something on at 8 o'clock my time tonight, so 11 for you guys I've got to go to. So, stuff to do. So I'm an early show for once. So you guys have to go back and watch this one, but we'll be back to normal tomorrow, back at 11 a.m. UK time. Gaz and myself will be on for that one. And then Matt joins me again Thursday for the transfer roundup. Some interesting deals that we'll be looking forward to discussing for that one. What have we got? Mercury Diamond gone with 20th Wolves, 19th Burnley, 20th Wolves, 19th Burnley, 18th Villa. Great shout there. Great shout there. Sunderland's finished mid-table above Newcastle, says Bob Jr. Bob Jr. is the man from Brisbane on the wind-up there. 2 to go, 10 minutes to go. We'll give you our 3 at the very end as well. Do I watch cricket? I do definitely watch cricket. I'll be going to the Ashes.
We're going to smash the Poms.
Absolutely no chance. Absolutely no chance. Right. We'll do an Ashes watch along. I think Andy B wants that.
What, from the SCG?
yeah, from the SCG. Yeah, we'll just do that. Right, let's go. Let's go Wolves next, who picked up their first point of the season against Spurs. Pereira's going to sign a new deal. Strand Larsen has signed a new deal. But ultimately, they continue to lose their top players season in, season out. Is that, in a nutshell, Matt, catching up with Wolves as a club?
100% it's caught up with them. Like, they don't. Other clubs, you look at Brentford and that, you look at the quality. Like, even though the names on the back of the jerseys don't scream out big name players, how they play on the field shows you that they're replacing those players. Wolves don't seem to do that. Wolves have just not really bought in the quality of player necessary to keep them where they are, and it's showing on the board. On the ladder right now, they're dead last, and they don't look like getting out of that bottom three. They really don't. And I'd be surprised if like, I know the rumors are Pereira's re-signing, but
I think he's vitally important to them staying up. I genuinely believe that. I think he's a good.
Do you honestly think they got a chance of staying up?
Well, we'll see. We'll see in the final three. Let's look at some of their next fixtures. They've got Brighton at home, Sunderland away, but you can come out. Yeah, then Burnley, then Fulham away, Chelsea and Palace.
There's only the Burnley game I could see them possibly getting a result.
So you go with 1 point in the next 6 games.
I'm going 1 to 3 points, and it's all on that one game.
Typically, Matty boy, when a team starts the way Wolves have, if they get to 10 games, so the next 4. So let's look at the next 4. Let's go shorter term. Brighton at home, Sunderland away, Burnley home, Fulham away. If they've got 1 point so far. After 10 games, how many points will they have?
2.
Okay. At that point then, typically, which is not quite a third of the way through the season, but we're edging towards it. At that point then, they're cut adrift.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
I think, okay, all right. Brighton, they got Brighton at home, so possibly they may jag a draw there. I just think Brighton will be too good for them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Burnley would be the one game they need to desperately get 3 points out of, and
it's at home. It is at home.
It is at home, and it's for me, but that's a flip of the coin.
Yeah,
that's really a flip of the coin there. That could go. They could quite easily lose that game, but I would say leaning towards a draw, hopefully a win, and the next 3, I don't see them getting anything out of.
This is what I love. Gurav 10 says 2 wins and a draw for Wolves in their in those 6 games.
Against
7 points.
Against 2.
Well, Burnley could be 3.
I said that.
Burnley could be 3.
They would be hoping that they get the win against Burnley. They could beat
Brighton at home. They could beat Brighton at home. Brighton are not. I don't think Hurtsler's doing a great job this season for them at the moment.
I can't see them pulling a win out there. A draw, yeah, not a win.
It's going to be tough. Either way, it's going to be
tough.
It's going to be tough.
I want to know in the chat, where's the 2 wins and the draw coming from? I want to know where he thinks they're going to get 2 wins.
Okay.
And a draw.
We'll soon find out that will come up. It's been an awful start. I mean, obviously they picked up. They were close to 3 points against Spurs. They've lost to Leeds. They've lost to Newcastle. They've lost to Everton. Sorry, they've lost to Everton. They've lost to Bournemouth. They're thumped by Manchester City. It hasn't been. And in fact, looking back in pre-season, they pretty much lost all their pre-season games. So.
But look at the teams they've lost against, mate. They're all just above them.
Gurav's gone with Burnley and Fulham and a draw. So he fancies them to beat Burnley and Fulham plus pick up a draw.
Where's the draw at too?
One of those games.
Yeah, but which one? He can't just say, I figure we're going to get a draw out of one of those games. Which is the game you think you're going to get a draw out? He's not a Wolves fan
either. He's just saying he fancies 7 points.
No chance, mate. I think honestly, possibly a win, potentially a win and a draw, or
I don't see any more than I don't see any more than 3 points. 1 win.
Yeah, Burnley's the one for me. They've got to get 3 points out of. And if I was going to have a stretch, they might want to try and jag. Is Fulham away?
Yes.
Yeah, they won't get points there. Then the other game would be Brighton at home. That they'd have to try and get a draw out of.
Grav's gone with them to get a draw against Sunderland. We'll see with that one.
No way.
Let's go on to the last one. Fast running out of time. Burnley, the last of the promoted teams. Scott Parker's improved them. I think they were mauled against Manchester City. That's a free hit of a game.
Free hit, yeah.
They are obviously third bottom, 4 points, 1 win, 1 draw, four losses. They've had some big teams though in those first 6, the likes of Man City, the likes of Spurs, and whatever else. I'll bring up their next 6. How do you? They didn't spend. I know they brought in the likes of Kyle Walker, Uga Chukwuemeka, as we call him, from Southampton. Do you feel like their mantra was, we'll have a go to try and stay up without spending and not hurting ourselves if we go down?
100%. That's exactly what they've done. Like it's the poison chalice of the Premier League, mate. You've got to make that decision as a club. Do we throw the house at it and try and stay up and spend, or do we try and be frugal with our money and add, which is what Burnley looks to have done? They had a player like Kyle Walker, tons of Premier League experience. Uga Chukwuemeka, again, another Premier League proven player. They try and add, a couple of players like that across the squad to give them experience and hope that they stay up. Then for me, you're relying on things like, can the manager have the ability to manage the shit out of the team and keep them up? You've been highly critical of Scott Parker. You don't think he's that good a manager?
I think he's great at the Championship. I think he's naive.
Yeah, great in the Championship, not in the Premier League. Yeah.
Yeah, naive. I think he's a good manager. I just think he's naive at this level.
Yeah. So, again, can he manage the crap out of the team in the Premier League? That's going to be the biggest question.
Yeah.
Because he's the
next 6, Matt. Here's the next 6. Villa away, who picked up their first win of the season. Leeds at home. Wolves away. There is 2 huge games there for Burnley in the next 3.
Okay, so out of those 3 games, Burnley should be targeting 2 wins.
Yeah.
Villa and
at the moment, their next 3 fixtures are all teams in and around them. Then I think
they'll struggle against Leeds.
In fact, they've got Arsenal.
Loss.
Then they've got West Ham.
Under Nuno, 5 weeks from now.
And then they've got Chelsea.
That'll be tough. Chelsea, no. I think West Ham 5 weeks from now will be a tough game for them.
I think
is it at
home? West Ham away.
Nah, Nuno haven't been there for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Away, no, that'll be too hard.
Mercury Dime says, I can't get past how much Uga Chukwuemeka would cost on a football shirt in letters.
Oh, God.
Absolutely. I think they could target 4 to 6 points from those games, if I'm honest.
I think they should be targeted 6 to 7. I think they would need to get Wolves and Villa early and a draw somewhere out of those the other games.
Okay. Let us know down in the chat, guys. Right, Matt. Let's go to your 20th place team.
Who did I have again? I didn't write it down.
Well, it's your 20th place team. My 20th place team is Burnley.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree. Look, I'd agree with that. Burnley or Wolves.
Then my 19th place team is Wolves.
Yep.
I just don't believe you can keep letting the quality go with Wolves.
No, you can't.
And I think they'll keep Pereira as manager. They'll sell Strand Larsen, which will help with financial fair play and whatever else for next season. Mm-hmm. And I think Wolves will come back. But I think, when clubs need a clear out to go again, sometimes they've got too many average players. Yep. I think actually Wolves need that and they come back in a better place.
Yep. Yeah, freshen it up.
Yeah.
But the question there is, look, Pereira's a good manager, but will that be stale as well if they go back down? Do they clean out the whole club and go?
Oh, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good manager. I'm not saying he's not a good manager, but from a club perspective, maybe it's, the same old message coming across, not getting a response out of the players.
Yeah.
And if they're going to go for the freshen up, do they just go right across the board? Clean the squad out.
Absolutely.
Go right through the whole place to go, let's reset, go again, totally.
They are a big football club.
Yeah.
Who's your one that just goes down? Who's your 18th place?
Well, if I'm going to go with West Ham, but I think Brentford, and this is going to throw everybody out, I think United are in that mix. I think they're in some serious shit.
Yeah,
I really do. I think they're in serious trouble.
I
don't see them being relegated, right? I'm not going to be that stupid. But I definitely think they're in deep water.
Yeah, they're treading water desperately.
Treading water. And I'm going to just say it straight out. I'd love to see them get relegated.
I'm sure you would.
I would. Can I say something? I'll tell you the reason why I'd like to see United get relegated, because maybe that's the push that gets the Glazers the fuck out of that club and gets somebody in there that can turn them around. Because while the Glazers are there, I don't see it happening. Yeah. It's just a shit show. And I think that would be the kick up the arse to get them out of there that the club needs.
Possibly. My 18th, and my mother, I hope you don't abandon me as your child.
You're going to do this to your mother?
It's Leeds United. I just think games like what happened at the weekend against Bournemouth, I can see happening more and more. I don't think they have the strike power unless they were to reassess it in January.
Yeah, so I think a draw against Bournemouth, mate.
Yeah,
and they weren't expected to win.
They were at home,
but they weren't.
They were 2-1 up with a minute to go. And what I'm saying to you is I think that will become more of a story as the season unfolds. And I don't think they'll score enough goals away from home to get enough points. So for me, Leeds just go down. I think the appointment of Nuno at West Ham and a January transfer window, even if it's loan deals, and his organisation from a defensive point of view, will mean West Ham will sit literally just above the relegation zone. I'm going to say it's going to be that tight that it goes to the final game of the season for that last spot.
For that last spot, for sure.
I think there'll be 3 clubs in it on the last day. I think it will be Brentford, West Ham and Leeds for that last spot. I think Burnley will be gone. Wolves will be gone.
Yep, they'll be gone. I think Burnley you can throw Forest in there too. I think Forest will be in there somewhere.
Well, sitting above Leeds, so then West Ham. Then I've got Brentford 16th, Forest 15th.
And I've got United too.
United 14th. That's of the ones we've done today. So yeah, look, that's it. I've got to get myself offline because I've got to get out the door. But look, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys, for you guys coming in as well. But apologies that we were an hour earlier today. The big man sitting next to me, the big red, the man who loves the 16 pints and 2 vodkas on a Saturday watching football, will be rejoining me on Thursday for our transfer show. We've got the Champions League, Olympiacos, so I'll have to work out whether you're free for that one as well, to do a watch along with that one as well.
Is that Friday morning or Thursday?
I think it's Thursday. I will be up doing the watch along for that one as well. I might have to be
sick for that one.
Yeah, exactly. Back injury. But thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Look forward to seeing you with Gaz on Wednesday. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.